So, welcome. So, at first, we welcome you with this sign, what is typical Hawaiian symbol called shaka. And it's basically normal hi or how we wave, like ciao or something like that. And you can see that on several of our videos from our friends from Hawaii. And my name is Hannah, this is my friend Sima, and this is Darko, and we'll start our presentation about beautiful islands of Hawaii.
Okay, so let's begin with some basic facts. As you can see, Hawaii is composed of 8 islands, and you may be wondering how these islands were created. Well, thousands of years ago, there were undersea volcanoes that erupted and formed these islands. There's also an ancient legend connected with settling of these islands. It was about the hero named Hawaii, who stumbled upon these islands. Then he returned home, spread the news about new discovery, and then he organized a colonizing expedition with his family and 8 other skilled navigators. They have settled on what is now known as the island of Hawaii, named in his honor. This legend also contains reference to his children, Kauai, his son, Oahu, his daughter, and Maui, his oldest son, who settled on the islands, who bear their names since then. Nowadays, it is the only state made up entirely of islands, and also it is named officially as the Aloha State. The capital city is Honolulu. Their official language is English and Hawaiian. And also, very interesting fact is that Hawaii has its own time zone. It is 11 hours behind our time zone. Also, an interesting fact is that on Kauai, which is here, they have a law which says that buildings must be built not taller than a palm tree. Also, here you can see a seal of Hawaii, which contains their national motto. Wo mau ke'ea, wo kaene ika pono. It means the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness.
Okay, so we got several videos of Hawaiian people. Through my friend, I asked her to make several videos for us, and because she's studying in Hawaii, she asked several of her Hawaiian friends to tell us something about their traditions and show us several things. So this is one of them.
Aloha Slovakia. My name is Aloha Lokui Kalani, Ka'iwa Nai Makamayer, but people just call me Aloha. And I am from the beautiful islands of Hawaii. My middle name, Ka'iwa Nai Maka, is from my great-great-grandma, and then it was given to my grandma and then me, so it's kind of given on the grandmother's side, and that's a traditional thing to have names like that passed down here.
Awesome. What can you tell us about the way you celebrate New Year's?
We celebrate New Year's probably a little bit different than you do in Slovakia, and most big holidays when we have a lot of people over, we'll make what's called the imu. It's an underground oven, and it can be pretty big. It's just a giant hole in the ground, and you use it to cook food. My uncle has one, and he uses it to feed over 200 people every year for New Year's. And we have things like laulau and kulua pig, which is basically they just take the whole pig and put it in the ground and cover it up and cook it like that. And so it takes about 12 to 24 hours to cook it, but it's really good afterwards. And then we just have a big luau or party, inviting friends and families from all over the islands to just celebrate with us.
Awesome. What else do you use stuff like poi? Can you explain what that is?
Yes, poi is awesome, but most people don't like it. Poi is the paste of the taro. There's the taro plant, and at the bottom there's a little root, and that's called kalo. And you take the kalo and you mash it up with water, and that creates like a pasty substance called poi. And most Polynesian cultures, they have taro, but only Hawaii has poi, because you can only feed so many people with one taro, but when you make it into poi, you can feed at least 5 people with one taro, so it's more effective.
Do you know any ancient Hawaiian traditions?
Ancient Hawaiian traditions? Hula is a big Hawaiian tradition. Today you'll see what's called owana, and that's like the more slow hula. It's a little bit more graceful and modern. In the ancient days they had what was called kahiko, and that was a lot more of an aggressive dance, talking a lot about war and the lives of the people back then, which was much more aggressive than today.
Awesome. Thanks, Aloha.
Okay, thanks to our Hawaiian friend Aloha, I would like to continue with what she ended with, and it's Aloha dance. So, Aloha dance has become one of the oldest Hawaiian traditions. Its origin or its history is bonded to various religious ceremonies, and nowadays is still performed at these types of ceremonies. What is basically the role of Hawaiian dance is to visually portray the stories which are written in chants or songs, because as we all know, oldest cultures, its history wasn't written, but it was orally transmitted from generation to generation, and this is the way how nowadays dancers are trying to explain us these stories by their dance. Hula dance is performed by 2 types, by men and by women. Men's hula is more fighting or more energetic, I could say, because men are playing the role of warriors in this dance. So it's louder, it's stronger. Women hula, on the other side, is more calmer. Women wear colorful dresses, colorful tops and skirts, lots of adornment like flowers, as you can see, or grasses, leaves, and so on. Nowadays, hula is one of the most important entertainment for tourism. And now, I would like to show you some basic steps of hula. And we would be glad if you join us. So guys, if you want, just stand up, come here, and we could learn together. Sit up, come on! Please. Okay, firstly, put your hands on your hips and bend your knees like this. Yes, first step is called kaholo. Kaholo means just 2 simple steps to the side, like this, and back. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, and could add arms, 1, 2. Okay, perfect. Another one is called hela. Hela, just keep your knees bent and pull your foot forward like this. Okay, perfect. Third one is called uehe. Uehe begins when you pick up your foot like this and then pick both. So another one, pick up, back, and both. Okay, let me see. Okay, perfect, great. And fourth one is pretty simple. Just rotate with your hips like this. Okay, 2 circles are very slow. 1, 2, but on the third,
you have to go lower and do it faster like this. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I will continue. I would like to tell you something about Polynesian Cultural Center. It's basically a tourist attraction, and it's a place where it's a basically huge island divided into 6 villages of everyone represents one Polynesian culture, and we have videos only from the Hawaiian one. And basically everything what you can see on the video is how it actually looks like in Hawaii. All the lagoons, palm trees and everything, except of the huts and houses represented there, because they are not made anymore, because it's really hard to make these typical houses nowadays. But yeah, and we have videos of 2 people who work there nowadays, and they have their own stations, and they show basically how to make, for example, weaving from the leaves or different traditions. And because Hawaiians are really proud and they want to keep their culture, you could think that Hawaiians are really friendly and kind, and that's actually not really true, because they want people coming to their islands and spending their money, but they don't want them to stay. They want them to go away afterwards, because they want to keep their culture and all the traditions basically for themselves.
Aloha Slovakia. So a little bit about Hawaiian culture is hula is a major part of Hawaiian culture. That's the way how we would keep track of our history. So anytime you watch somebody dancing hula, it's actually a story being told about Hawaiian history, and there's actually a reason for the body movements that they're making. Around my neck is kukui nuts. Kukui nuts are from the kukui tree, which are from the Hawaiian state tree. What we would do is we would crack open these nuts, and they would be really rich in oil. And so what we would do is we use that oil kind of like a candle. We'd burn it, and it would be able to be used for light at night. We'd also use it for eating, not as much really. Anything else?
What's the net you're holding?
The net I'm holding. So this is a traditional way that we would go fishing. We still go fishing this way. It's all shallow water fishing. So what we would do is we cast these nets about like our waist level. The general rule of thumb is that we can catch anything that really fits inside the net if you have the manpower to reel it in. Today we make them out of regular fishing line, and at the bottom are lead weights. Traditionally, we would make them out of fibrous plants, particularly a fibrous plant called the olona. And if you talk to botanists, the olona is one of the strongest fibers that you can use for cordage. And instead of lead weights, we use stones. If you're experienced, it takes somebody usually about a week or 2 to make one. If you're inexperienced, it takes them closer to 2 months, depending on the size of the net. Yeah. This is a canoe. Normally canoes would be made out of medium hardwood, because medium hardwood is not as dense, so we'll do a much better job at floating. Not only do self-reliant, but yeah.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
His name is Isaac, and maybe what is interesting is that only people who have Hawaiian ancestors are considered to be Hawaiians, which means that both parents, like mother and father, have to have Hawaiian ancestors. When someone has mother or father side, maybe somewhere around the world, they are called just locals. So placement of the tattoo. So tattoo is something what is really important in Hawaiian culture. How Sima mentioned earlier, in the past they didn't have writing, so they used tattoos and dance to basically express all the stories, their personality, basically their ranking in the society and all these things. And every one symbol has its own meaning, but not just the symbol, but also the placement of the tattoo has its own meaning. For example, when you are tattooed on the head, it means spirituality. On a higher rank, it is honor. On a lower rank, it is energy, and especially on the thighs, it means marriage. And on the shoulders and higher arms, it is bravery and strength, which was usually placed where all the warriors and chiefs were tattooed. And lower arms and palms means creativity, creation, and things which are made. And also what is interesting is that gender-wise, the left side is usually represented by women, and the right side is represented by men. And basically, every one of our tattoos has its own meaning, and also the placement is important for us. So we would maybe briefly introduce every one of us one of our tattoos, which is important for us.
Okay, so this one, my tattoo, is called Sankofa, and its name could be translated by the sentence, just go back and get it. In meaning that it's not wrong to return and get what you have forgotten or learn from your past mistakes to build perfect future. San means to return, ko means to go, and fa means to fetch.
Okay, so my tattoo, I will describe this one, which is basically waves, and it represents ocean, which is moana. And moana is really important also for Polynesian people, because ocean is basically main source of their food, and it represents all the voyages in the past and basically everything what they believe in. And also when Polynesian people die, they basically believe that they go to the ocean, so it also means death and something beyond.
My tattoo is called Spearhead. It represents the warrior nature, and it could also represent sting of some animals. Very dangerous.
Mahalo no Kohana, which basically means thank you for your attention in Hawaiian.